Okay, so one pack of cards was basically the elements, but they were all stacked. So all of the red triangles, 6 of those, then the squares, and so they were all stacked, and they're all numbered on the bottom as well. So I made 6 small piles and then shuffled them and combined them and shuffled this as best I can. Save that for later. Then the other stack was basically, a few of these were in there just to even it out, but you have 2 armor cards, 2 shield cards, and 2 wands. More on those later. Then I have these separated. We have level 1 are skeletons. Okay. Artwork is very legible, simple, very easily determinable. So level 2 are zombies. 3, these are like little goblins or something. And that's those. And then I have these separated because this will be the next round. Looks like a werewolf. And then 5 would be vampire. And we will set those aside. Alright, we start off. We will take just these elements and we're going to deal each player, depending on the number of players, but each player will get 3 random elements dealt. Then we'll determine how many of these we want to include, and we will take a few of these randomly, mixed in with these, mixed into this after we deal out a few elements, and then we'll set up the board and give it a go. So, looking through the playable characters, this is your life and this is your stamina. When you reach that point, you have to flip over and you're weakened. And if you ever reach the number in the heart, you're knocked out. Everyone loses. 9, 10, 10, 12. So there's 4 characters with 9 or more health and 4 characters with 8 or less. So I'm going to do one of each. And I've kind of looked through them, and I want to play some characters that I haven't seen other people play. So I'm going to go with the Brute. 12 max hit points, 5 stamina. And I'll go through the abilities when we get in the game, but one reason, these are attacks, defense, and then these are how you banish cards and win the game. So this one I can play a red card from the void to the banishing. And this one I can play all greens to the void, from the void to the banishing. So all the greens, which means it's going to weaken the, as I use this, it'll weaken the green abilities, and this one lets me draw a card for each wound I have and discard any undead. And then this one, for each wound you have, discard a wound from another player. So we will see how that goes. I'm going to try these 2. So let's get the game set up. I'll zoom out and we'll go through the game. There is the level 1 monsters. And here are some item cards. Shuffle those up as best I can. Get to those later. And I've already shuffled these once, but I'll give them a quick shuffle just to 1, 2, 3 get us started. So now I will randomly take 2 and set these aside. I'm going to mix all of these together in here. So I'm going to make a few piles to get it as distributed as I can. So, initial little bit of a spoiler here with my critique of the game. I do wish that the cards had a little white edge around it, so it wouldn't show wear and tear as bad, but with it being a co-op or a solo player game, I don't think it's a huge deal. They are nice looking, and this seems to be the most fiddly part of the game, so it's really cool. So okay, and as long as there are fewer than 6 undead on the initial setup, you can play. And first player I will have is the Brute, and he already has 3 squares, but unfortunately you need 3 of a color to perform any of your special abilities. And let's see, just for reference, this is the Bard's hand. I'll leave that off of camera here for a moment. Okay, what is he going to do? Could do that and be ready to go. So let's just take this row. You must take all of one row or column. Let's take this. He will suffer 1 wound, but now he has 3 red cards. Okay, and I think I'll go ahead and discard these to activate his slash ability. So discard an undead, then discard all cards adjacent to it. Right. We'll discard this one. Oop, wait a minute. You're immediately supposed to fill these in. So, that's unfortunate. So I will discard this, and then these 3, and immediately fill in. And now we go over to the Bard. So let's just bring his stuff in here. Let's see. That might be a good start. There we are. And let's do a trade. So, for his action, he will trade a card with a player. Offer this blue swirl for a blue square, and next turn, if he chooses, he can activate a banishing skill. Excellent. Fill these in. Okay. And let's see what the Brute's going to do. Well, there is another blue swirl. So let's do that. And let's do this. Do I want to... He could use this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this because he can hold a few wounds, and the wounds will help the team draw cards and such. So, here we go. And especially playing solo, even with multiple characters, the game goes really quick because you can make quick decisions. So, I'm going to reset up so that I can simply slide the camera back and forth between the 2 players. Be right back. Now we're set up, ready for the Bard, and he does have 3 squares, which 3 blue cards of the same shape. I can play all the green visible cards from the void, all green swirls, to the banishing. And there actually are none. So we're going to hold off on that, and I don't really want to use that. But if I get 1 more circle, all players may play a card on top of an undead. Or I may just go ahead and do this. Let's do that. 3 red, any 3 red, even if they're all the same symbol. All players draw a card, starting with the active player, and you discard if it's an undead. And let's see. Oh, ooh, a level 3 undead. And that is his turn. Oh, sorry, he forgot to take a row before he did that. So, we know that the Brute needs this row here. So, let's take these, give him 1 wound and 2 red. And I did this out of order. First card was a skeleton. So I'm going to give this let's see. These should have been the first 2 cards drawn. And then activating his ability, he will get that. And the warrior gets that. You're supposed to take a row of column first, then do ability. I did it backwards. But we fixed it. We called it. No problem. Over to the brute, who has these cards, has 2 wounds. He's still okay. And this row looks very good for him. Now, 2 green squares, 2 green triangles, 2, 4, 6, 8 max number of cards. He's okay. And there is another green square. So over to the bard. Let's see here. What does he want to do? We got to start getting some cards into the banishing, but there are no green swirls in the void on the table. So what can he do? Doesn't really want to waste those for just trading. Although yeah, because he doesn't have any more blue to trade with the warrior. That column will be great for him if he can heal. So that's not going to work either. Okay. And taking that goblin would put him to the limit. So what is he going to do? Four, 5, 6, 7, and he is at 3 wounds. And the brute, let's see if I can move his stuff down a little bit, rearrange some of this, put the discard like that. There we go. Ah. Let's take these. That will put him at 4 wounds. Then he is going to play 3 green squares. For each wound you have, discard a wound from any player. For each wound you have. 2, 3, 4. Now, I do not know, does that mean I can discard up to 4 wounds from only one player, or can I spread that out? I'm going to double check in the rulebook to see if there is anything to clarify that. So a little quick clarification says for each wound you have. Well, according to the instruction manual, this is a wound, and this is 1 wound. It's 1 monster, it's 1 wound who deals 2 points of damage. So that is 3 wound cards. There is nothing in the manual to clarify this, and since it says from any player, I can discard a wound from any player for each wound. I have 3 wounds. Well, let's discard this one as 1, and then I will discard 2 from the bard for a total of 3 wounds gone. And that will be his turn. Over to the bard, who is now feeling a little better, a little healed up there. Alright. Need to get... Oh, the warrior will be able to... Yeah, he has a good turn next turn if he can heal Or if I can get rid of that, that is a lot of damage to take. Alright, I'm going to put the Bard at the brink of death. So now he loses all of his special abilities and only has the swap, trade, and rest. 3, 4, 5, which is greater than or equal to 4, but less than 8. So he is okay. Immediately fill these. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards. And does he want to swap or trade? He will simply rest to discard his lowest wound. There we are. But he is still at 4 wounds. Even though it is only, I'm sorry, 4 damage, even though it's 2 wounds. Okay? And over here, let's see. I can now take this, which gives him 3 triangles, 3 swirls. Let's just start with the 3 swirls, and I need to immediately fill the void. Start with the 3 blue swirls. Play a red card from the void to the banishing. Well, if you notice, there are a bunch of red triangles and only 1 square. So let's just go ahead and put that over here. You can just see it there. We have 1. We have to get 10 of these before we go through the deck 3 times to win. So that is 1. We refill the empty space. Now over here. Let's see. Have to take a row or column. So here or here. Doesn't want that green card. The warrior could do with it better. So let's go this way. Okay. And refill. Then he will rest to discard this. Now he has 1 wound with damage of 3, which is less than 4. He can flip over. So next turn he'll be able to use a special ability. But for now he can't because he's already used an ability. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Must discard 3 cards. Let's get rid of... I'm going to get rid of these because maybe later I can swap cards or something and give those to the brute. So let's get rid of these. Back down to 8, so he's good. Over here to the brute again. See if we can get everything in camera. There we go. He already has 3 there. That triangle would come in handy. Let's 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be too much. Can only take up to 2 wounds. So let's try and get him at least 1 wound. Let's go ahead and do this then. There we go. Put those there. And I goofed. I took the column with both red cards, so he doesn't want to use this ability. But let's see what else he can do here. For 3 red, I will discard an undead and all cards adjacent to it. Well, let's discard this one. Diagonal doesn't count, only orthogonal. So we discard these 2. And, we got a wand. Excellent. The wand can be used as any symbol of any color. It's a wild card. Nice. Over to the Bard. And there is a green swirl there now. So he is probably going to go ahead and do this on his turn. Cannot afford to take any wounds at this point, which leaves these. He already has a green swirl, so let's do this. This wand will go here. Let's see if I can slide down and show you. There is a spot there on the board, player board, wand. Okay, and it does not count towards your hand limit. So let's put these up here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because I'm about to play these 3 here. Play, and I goofed. I goofed again. Wow. So let's save those. And instead, let's play these 3. He can play his next turn. He already has. Well. All players may swap a card from their hand with a card from the discard. I'm not going to add these to the discard until the end of the action. So these will not be available. But they'll be able to swap one card. He is going to get rid of this square, put it there, to take a blue swirl. And the brute will get rid of a blue square to take a green triangle if there is one. Green triangle, yes. That gives him 3 green triangles. Now I will add those to the discard, and he is set up for 2 turns if we can get green swirls on the board and actually leave them in the void. The brute, though, is ready. We just need to leave that red card there. And he cannot take more than 2 damage, which is going to be impossible. Wow. So let's go ahead and do that, which is going to push him over. And then for his action, he will rest to lose a level 1 wound. All right. Over here. He needs some green cards is what he needs. He is back to 4 damage. He still has the wand. And he will immediately rest. Okay, 3, 6, 9, 10. I must discard 2 cards. Let's get rid of these 2. Not doing so well now. And I know what we're going to have to do next turn. So let's go ahead and, wow, I hate to do it, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Now we have 4, 8, 10. Well, that's obvious what we'll do there. And then he will rest over to the bard. So, cannot take any wounds if he wants to be able to perform his action. So he must take this. Then any 3 blue. Yes, they match, but it does not matter. All players may trade any number of cards with each other. Okay? Any number of cards. So he is going to give, let's do 2 green triangles, and he will give him 2 red circles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He is okay on his hand limit, but now he has 3 of a kind green for his next turn. And fill up the board. Oops. Okay. And he is going to be doing okay next turn. So can't take that or that or that because he will die. 3, 6, 9, 12 or 3, 6, 9, 12. Which means he has to go here or here. Oh, that is unfortunate. Oh well. He will go here. He will rest to discard this. Now he needs to discard 2 cards. So once again, let's see. I think this time he's going to keep that and discard 2 red cards. And, ooh, we got some armor. Now, over here. He cannot take any wounds because then he will flip his card and not be able to use his charm spell. So, he must take this bottom row that gets him armor. Now he has an extra stamina for the rest of the game, which is nice. But now we will use 3 green triangles. Charm. Choose a wound. All players may discard all wounds of this type. And this is why I was hoping that the brute could draw more of these. I'm going to choose the level 3 goblin demon. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't exactly look like an undead monster, but anyway, in this game it is considered to be undead. So we will discard that. And the brute will discard both of his. Even though it is not his turn, he is now below his stamina point, so he gets to flip back over. 2, 5, 7. We're okay there. And we are getting low here, and we have only banished 1 card. But, ooh, if we can leave those there for him, he can knock 2 of those out next turn. Let's see, over here with the brute, already has 3 triangles ready. A red card from the void. There is no red card. So wow. Does not look good, so I'm going to go ahead and do this again. That puts him over 4, 8 cards, so we'll discard the red. And we will have to shuffle the next turn. Ouch. Now, he can go up to 4 wounds now without flipping. And he already has the cards to cast the spell. So let's just do that. Let's just take this middle row and 2 wounds. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but 4 damage, 2 wounds. Normally that would flip him, but he has the armor. So 1 extra stamina. Doesn't flip. So I have to shuffle the deck. Not sure why that card is there. Oh yes, that's the banishing. Don't want to. Okay. Now I pick up the level 4 monsters. So I'm going to seed them in. They look like werewolves, but they're supposed to be undead. But no big deal. In this game, they're considered undead. And this will be the second round through the deck, and right off the bat, ouch. 3 blue cards. It's not as good of a spell as it would have been, but to the void. That's 2 cards to the void out of 10. That is a lot of monsters out in the void. Now, what is he going to do? Currently has 8 damage. Can only take 4 more. So here's 3, and there's 2, and there's 2. Huh. Needs to. Wow. All right, let's and he needs to discard, so discard that, and for his action, just rest. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So even before he discarded that, he was 10. If he had hit 12, he immediately is knocked out. I do believe you don't. It's not at the end of your turn when that happens. Yep. All it says is if your total damage matches or exceeds your health. So as soon as it would do that, you would be knocked out. This is not looking good for my first playthrough. Alright. What is he going to do? Cannot take any more damage and be able to cast any abilities. So let's do this. Okay. Then three blue. All players may trade any number of cards with each other. So once again, let me take those 3 out of. Nope, I'm not going into the discard pile, so that works. Any 3. He's wanting to cast the wound. There is a. He doesn't have any of. So let's go 1. He's going to give all 4 of these cards to take all 4 of the green cards. There we go. Now he needs 1 green triangle or 1 green swirl to remove some wounds, maybe save us in this game. 3, 6, 9. This is the only way he can survive. So he must do that. Has no choice. Ouch. This is not looking good. What will he do? Well, three, 6, 9, 10, 11. I'll just rest. And it looks like it's going to be game over. Come over here. With the wand, I can now cast my spell, but I don't think I'm going to get a chance to. Trying to not die now. This armor gives me a stamina of +1, but not a max hit point. So this number goes to 5. This stays at 8. So we just lost. Because 2, 3, 4 damage, 2, 3, 4 damage. No matter which row or column it takes, it will reach or exceed 8. I have to do that before I can discard. So, wow. Yeah, just lost in halfway through the second round of the game. Well, I lost horribly, but what do I think? It's pretty cool. The art is, it's not great, it's not spectacular, it's not awesome or anything like that. You're not going to be talking about it, but it is very functional, and it almost looks like old 60s and 70s horror film, like poster or shadow silhouettes of monsters that you might see. Very distinctive, very easily recognizable. The other cards are just symbols and colors. For anyone that's colorblind, the cards, the red cards have one solid line around them. The blue cards have 2 solid lines, and the green cards have 3 solid lines around the outside. So even if you had these, you would know that is 2 different color. Doesn't matter what the color are. And if you notice, red is 1, green is 3. That is the only thing I'm not really psyched about, because this should be 1, 2, 3. But as long as, if you have someone that's colorblind in your group and you go through that with them up front, you know, 1, 3, 2, or whatever. But as long as somebody can help them know, then this game, you'll have no problem with it. It does call all of the monsters undead in the instruction book, and some of the player characters' abilities talk about undead, swapping out undead. The shaman, I believe, can have an undead pet, and it says you can swap out your undead for another undead and such like that. And even though, like I said, the werewolf and the goblin demon looking thing aren't necessarily undead, for the purposes of this game they are. It works. The artwork, it's simple and it works. And I think if it would have been color and bright and filled the card and all that, then the cost of this game would have been doubled. I mean, I got this for, I think, $13 from Miniature Market. And you can get it from Amazon for like $16, $17. It's a small box. It size of my hand, roughly. And I can take it with me on trips. I can quickly set it up. It's not too much pre-set up. Set it up. I can play a quick game with my daughter, with a friend, with somebody around, or just by myself if I have a little table space. It doesn't take up that much space for that price. It's really cool. Even though I lost, I can see how this game can be winnable but challenging. I probably didn't pick the best of characters, and I know I didn't play the best, because there were times when I had it set up and while filming, trying to get everything on camera and do it just right. I take the wrong row or column and oh, now I don't have my play, but that's fine. And some of the characters, instead of banishing, like the brute banishes any red card, the bard banishes any green swirl. It has to be a green swirl. Some of them let you banish one of your lowest wound, or a undead from the void, the lowest undead from the stuff like that, and that's even more helpful because then you don't lose those symbols. But pretty cool game, especially for that price. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to playing it some more. I might do another playthrough with an overhead camera and just zip through it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and come back for more board gaming here at RatherBeBoardGaming. Hello, real quick, since recording the video, I've played this a few more times. A 2-player, a couple of 3 players, and 4-player. And when I played the 4-player, I believe I used the witch, which can get rid of an undead to the banishing, and then the fighter, same thing. When you draw cards, you can do that. The cultist, you can have a servant, and the servant is an undead, so, and then you can banish them. And then the sorcerer. So easier characters to put the undead into the banishing. So that could have something to do with winning. But the point I wanted to make was that in none of my games was it ever close. It was never a question. Not even halfway through when I was using the characters that I won with, not even halfway through the second round. There's 3 rounds, 3 difficulties, and not even halfway through the second round, I already knew I was going to win. I already had most of the banishing taken care of, and it was more just organizing my cards and getting ready to just chain them and win. And wasn't even close. All the games I lost were pretty much the same way. They were not close. I knew very quickly into the second round there was absolutely no way of coming back unless I got perfect draws into the banishing, and it just, I said, okay, I need this character to get this, didn't get it. I need this character to get it, didn't get it. Nope, no way to win. Absolutely. They were not close. So maybe that will give you just a little feeling of how the game goes if you're looking to maybe finish out an order online and you're thinking about getting this. Take that for what it is. I've played it 5 times, but it is something to think about. And it does happen with some co-op games that they either go really easily all the way from the beginning, or they just bog down and there's no way. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you, and thanks for watching. Come back and see us.